If I had to pick the number one thing that stops people from buying their first home, it probably isn't interest rates. It isn't the home prices, and honestly, it usually isn't even someone's credit score. The biggest reason I hear is much simpler. I hear things like, I just don't have enough money for a down payment. I hear that almost every single week, actually. Someone might have a stable job, they've been paying rent on time for years, their credit is actually pretty good, but they assume buying a home is still years away because they think that they need to save $50, $60, or even $100,000 before they can even start looking. And honestly, I don't blame them. A big myth that I hear often is that you need 20% down to buy a home. So let's use a simple example. Let's say you're buying a $500,000 home. 20% of that down would be about $100,000. For most first-time home buyers, that's an enormous amount of money. Even people making good incomes may not have that kind of cash sitting around in a savings account. So many people immediately conclude that they're not ready. And unfortunately, that's where the conversation ends. But here's the good news. In many cases, you do not need 20% down to buy a home. In fact, many buyers purchase homes for significantly less. Some use 3.5% with an FHA loan, and veterans who qualify for VA financing may be able to purchase with no down payment at all. And some rural properties can often qualify for USDA financing, which is also with no down payment. And on top of that, there are grants, second mortgage programs, match savings programs, and affordable housing programs that can help qualified buyers bridge that gap. I want to walk you through the programs that are available here in the Portland metro area and throughout Oregon, explain how they work, explain who they're designed for, and maybe, most importantly, explain who they're not designed for. Because I think one of the biggest misconceptions about down payment assistance is that it's free money for everyone, and that is simply just not true. Every program has different rules, they have different income limits, different property requirements, different repayment requirements. Some of them are grants, some of them are loans, and some of them have forgivable portions. Also, some of these may require repayment when you sell or refinance. Some also only work with certain lenders, and some programs can even be combined together. That's why I always tell buyers that the first step isn't applying for a program. The first step is understanding what programs actually exist. One thing I also want to make very clear before we do go any further is that these programs aren't just for people who are struggling financially. I've worked with buyers who've had great jobs, solid income, but simply hadn't accumulated enough cash yet. Maybe they just recently graduated, maybe they spent years paying off their student loans, maybe they were paying high rent while they were trying to save. Life happens. Saving tens of thousands of dollars while paying today's rents is not easy. And that's exactly why many of these programs were created. Their goal is to help qualified buyers overcome one of the biggest barriers to home ownership, the upfront cash to buy. Now, that doesn't mean that these programs eliminate every obstacle. You still need to qualify for a mortgage, and you still need to show some income, you still need credit, and you still need to demonstrate that you can afford the monthly payments. These programs aren't designed to put people into homes that they can't afford. They're designed to help qualified buyers who are capable of making the monthly payment, but need assistance getting across the finish line. And I just want to say, I actually think that's a really important distinction, because buying a home isn't just about getting the keys, it's about putting yourself in a position to successfully own that home for many years. Another misconception that I hear all the time is that down payment assistance somehow means that you're buying a lesser home, and that's not true either. Some of these programs are tied to specific affordable housing developments, while others can be used on traditional resale homes and even can work with new construction. And I just want to reiterate that every program is different, and that's why understanding your options is so important. One thing you'll notice throughout this video is that I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about education, because education is probably the biggest advantage you can have during the home buying process. The buyers who understand financing, understand assistance programs, and understand how these programs fit into an overall strategy are usually the buyers who make the best long-term decisions. But before we dive into the specific programs, I also want to point out something that's highly encouraging. Housing affordability continues to be one of the biggest priorities for local governments throughout Oregon. Programs continue evolving, the state continues funding homeownership initiatives. And I just want to mention, just recently, Portland City Council approved directing tens of millions of dollars towards affordable housing initiatives after discovering that we had previously a ton of unbudgeted housing funds. And so that shows you that affordability continues to be a major focus throughout our region. And sometimes buyers can qualify for opportunities that they didn't even know existed. If we haven't met before, my name is Stephen Tran. I'm a local realtor and real estate investor serving Oregon and Southwest Washington. I make videos every single week about buying homes, relocating to the Portland metro area, investing in real estate, and understanding today's housing market. If that's the kind of content you're looking for, I'd really appreciate it if you take a second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if, by the end of this video, you think one of these programs might fit your situation, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call or text me at 971-285-2002, or you can email me at steven@diverserg.com, or you can schedule a consultation using a link in the description below. Now that we've talked about why these programs exist and cleared up some of the biggest myths, let's start with one of the organizations that I recommend to almost every first-time home buyer who's interested in exploring down payment assistance here in the Portland metro area, and that is the Portland Housing Center. And before anyone misunderstands what the Portland Housing Center does, I want to explain something that's really important. The Portland Housing Center isn't just a place that hands people checks for a down payment. In fact, that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about down payment assistance. The Portland Housing Center is really an educational resource. Think of them as one of the starting points for buyers who want to understand what programs may be available for them. One of the biggest challenges with down payment assistance is that there isn't just one program. There are actually dozens. Some are offered by different cities, some by the state, some are offered by local nonprofits, some are offered by lenders, and some programs are grants and some are loans. Some are forgivable, some are tied to specific neighborhoods. You can see that it can be a little bit overwhelming. I want to also mention some of them have income limits, some of them have purchase price limits, and trying to figure out which ones you qualify for your own can become overwhelming pretty quickly. And that's exactly why the Portland Housing Center becomes incredibly valuable. Instead of trying to navigate all of these programs by yourself, you can meet with one of their home buying specialists, and they'll look at your financial picture, talk with you about your goals, discuss your timeline, and help identify which programs actually fit your situation. Sometimes buyers walk into these meetings thinking of a specific program, only to discover that there's another program that's actually a much better fit. Other buyers assume that they don't qualify for anything at all, only to discover that they have several options that they never knew existed. And that's why I almost always encourage buyers to start there if they're interested in looking for down payment assistance. Another thing that I really like about the Portland Housing Center is that they focus heavily on education. Since buying your first home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make, understanding mortgages, budgets, monthly payments, insurance, closing costs, and long-term ownership costs is incredibly important. The goal isn't just simply getting you into a house, the goal is helping to make you a successful homeowner, because buying a home is just the beginning. Owning it successfully over the next 5, 10, or 20 years is really what matters. Now let's talk about different kinds of assistance that buyers will typically encounter. Because when people hear the word down payment assistance, they often assume every program works the same way, and that's definitely not the case. Generally speaking, you'll see 3 major categories: grants, loans, and match savings programs. Let's start with grants. Grants are usually the simplest for buyers to understand because they're often described as free money. And now, I always hesitate to use that phrase because every program has different rules. And generally speaking, grant funds do not have to be repaid as long as you continue meeting the program requirements. Those funds can usually be applied towards your down payment, your closing costs, or both. And that's a huge benefit because one of the biggest barriers to home ownership isn't necessarily the monthly payment, it's coming up with enough cash to actually close on that home. A grant can help bridge that gap. So maybe you saved most of your down payment, but you don't have enough left over for closing costs. That's exactly the type of situation grants are designed to help with. Now, are there downsides to grants? Well, yes, sometimes. Grant amounts are often smaller than loan programs. And depending on the specific program, there may be occupancy requirements. For example, some grants require for you to continue using your home as a primary residence for a certain period of time. If you move out too early or fail to meet certain requirements, some or all of the grant may need to be repaid. And that's why it's important to actually read the program guidelines instead of simply hearing someone say it's free money. Next, let's talk about the different loan programs. This is an area where buyers often get confused. Many down payment assistance programs work by creating what's called a second mortgage. Your first mortgage is still your primary home loan, and the assistance program simply places a second lien on the property. Now, how that second mortgage gets repaid depends entirely on the program. Some second mortgages are deferred, and that means you don't make monthly payments on them. Instead, they're typically repaid when you sell the home, refinance your mortgage, or you transfer ownership. Other programs may require monthly payments similar to any other loan. There are also even forgivable loan programs where portions of the balance disappear over time as long as you continue meeting the program requirements. And one thing I always tell buyers is to not immediately dismiss second mortgages. Sometimes using a second mortgage often allows someone to purchase a home sooner than they otherwise could. And in other situations, it may help to reduce or even eliminate your mortgage insurance. Sometimes it allows buyers to purchase a slightly better home while still maintaining a comfortable monthly payment. Again, every program is different, and that's why running the numbers with an experienced lender or mortgage broker becomes so important. Finally, let's talk about one of my favorite types of programs because I think it often gets overlooked, and that is the match savings programs. These programs work just a little bit differently. Instead of helping buyers who are ready to purchase today, they're designed for buyers who are planning ahead. Let's say you're hoping to buy a home sometime in the next year. A match savings program allows you to deposit money into a designated savings account while the program contributes additional matching funds based on specific rules. In other words, your savings grows faster than they would on their own. And I love these programs because they accomplish two things at once. First of all, they obviously help buyers accumulate more money for their down payment and closing costs. But secondly, they help people build strong savings habits. Because home ownership does not end the day you close on a home. You're gonna have to deal with maintenance, unexpected repairs, among other things. And learning to consistently save money before becoming a homeowner often sets people up for long-term success afterwards. The downside is that match savings programs usually aren't for someone who's trying to buy in the next month. They're better suited for buyers who have a longer timeline and are willing to consistently save over several months or even longer. So when people ask me which type of down payment assistance is the best, it really does depend on your income, your timeline, your savings, and your long-term goals. And that's exactly why I still recommend sitting down with both a knowledgeable lender and organizations like the Portland Housing Center before making any assumptions about which programs are the right one for you. Now that we've discussed the different types of assistance, let's talk about some of the actual programs available here in Oregon, beginning with the statewide programs offered through the Oregon Housing and Community Services before we move into the local programs like the SDC Exemption Program, Proud Ground, and Welcome Home Beaverton. And I want to start by saying something that's really important. I don't expect anyone watching this video to memorize every single program that I mentioned. In fact, many of these programs change over time. The funding might change, the income limits definitely change, purchase price limits change, and sometimes the programs receive additional funding, and sometimes they're temporarily paused due to budget, and sometimes even entirely new programs are introduced. And that's exactly why it's so important to work with professionals who stay up to date with all of these changes. The goal of this video isn't for you to become an expert on every single program. The goal is for you to understand what's available so you know what questions to ask. Okay, now let's talk about one of the larger statewide homebuyer programs available here in Oregon, which is Oregon Flex Lending, which is offered through the Oregon Housing and Community Services, or OHCS for short. One thing that I like about this program is that it isn't just focused on helping buyers with a down payment. It's designed to help the entire home buying process more affordable for qualified buyers. Oregon Flex Lending consists of two first mortgage loan products called First Home and Next Step. Depending on your situation, either of these loans may be paired with the OHCS Down Payment Assistance Program. And that's where this program can become incredibly valuable. Many buyers think down payment assistance only helps with the down payment itself, but that's not always the case. Through the OHCS Down Payment Assistance Program, eligible buyers may be able to receive assistance covering up to 100% of the required cash to close. And that can include your down payment, your closing cost, prepaid expenses like homeowners insurance and property taxes, and upfront mortgage insurance if required, and also other eligible loan-related costs. For many buyers, the biggest obstacle isn't qualifying for the monthly payment, it's coming up with all the money needed on closing day. And this program in particular is designed to help overcome that hurdle. Now, just like every other program we talked about today, there are eligibility requirements, income limits, loan qualifications, and program guidelines that all apply, and not every buyer will qualify. Another important thing to understand is that not every lender offers Oregon Flex lending. OHCS works with a network of approved participating lenders throughout the state who understand these programs and can determine whether they're a good fit for your situation. And that's one reason I always encourage buyers to work with professionals who are familiar with these programs instead of trying to navigate everything on their own. If you in particular are interested in exploring Oregon Flex lending, I'd be happy to connect you with one of my trusted lenders or mortgage broker partners who participate in these programs. They can review your financial situation, explain the available options, and help determine whether First Step, Next Step, or another financing program makes the best sense for your goals. I think that's the biggest takeaway from all this, is that don't assume that you don't qualify. Sit down with the right lender, explore your options, and let them help you build a financing strategy that's tailored specifically to your situation. Now let's move into programs that are much more specific to the Portland metro area. One of my favorite programs for first-time homebuyers is Portland's SDC Exemption Program. I've actually created entire videos about this program because I think it's one of the most overlooked opportunities in our market. Normally, when a builder develops a new home, they have to pay something called System Development Charges, or SDCs for short. These fees help pay for infrastructure like roads, parks, water systems, sewer systems, and transportation improvements. And those fees can be substantial. The SDC Exemption Program removes many of those costs for qualifying affordable housing developments, and the result is that buyers can purchase brand new construction homes at significantly lower prices than comparable market rate homes. Just think about that for a second. You're buying a brand new home, which comes with a new roof, new plumbing, new electrical, new HVAC, occasionally new appliances. You'll get a builder warranty and modern energy efficiency for a home. And that's often at a price that's dramatically below comparable new construction nearby. Now, there are definitely requirements. These homes have income limits, and they're intended for buyers below certain median family income thresholds for the neighborhood the home is located in. There are also purchase restrictions and owner occupancy requirements. They're designed for people who actually plan to live in the home, not investors. But for buyers who qualify, I honestly think this is one of the strongest opportunities available anywhere in the Portland metro area. I've had multiple clients purchase beautiful, brand new homes through this program that they never thought would be within reach. Another program I'm a huge fan of is Proud Ground. Now, Proud Ground works differently than traditional home ownership, so it's important to understand how it operates. Proud Ground is what's known as a community land trust. Instead of purchasing both the house and the land underneath it, buyers purchase the home while leasing the land through the trust. That immediately lowers the purchase price because you're not paying for the land. For many buyers, that's the difference between qualifying for a home and not qualifying. Now, naturally, there are trade-offs. When you eventually sell the home, there are resale restrictions. You don't get to keep 100% of the appreciation. Part of that appreciation stays within the program so the home remains affordable for the next qualified buyer. The last time I checked, buyer profit at resale is capped at 25% of appreciation. For many buyers, Proud Ground becomes an incredible stepping stone. They build some equity, they gain some home ownership experience, and they stabilize their housing costs. And years later, many may eventually move into traditional home ownership. It's definitely not the perfect solution for everyone, but it's an outstanding option for buyers who qualify. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting local programs I've seen in recent years, and that is the Welcome Home Beaverton program. I've actually talked about this program quite a bit on my channel because I think it has potential to help a lot of first-time home buyers. Depending on the program guidelines and available funding, qualified buyers may receive up to $50,000 towards the purchase of a new home. Just think about how significant that is. $50,000 can help cover a down payment, it could reduce your monthly payment, it could improve your purchasing power, or it could just allow you to buy sooner than you originally expected. Now, once again, there are definitely requirements. 1, you have to qualify. 2, there are income limits. You typically need to be a first-time home buyer, and the property has to meet the program guidelines. You'll complete homebuyer education requirements as well, and you'll also need to occupy the home as your primary residence. Just understand that this isn't free money with no strings attached. It's a program designed to help people actually become long-term homeowners within the Beaverton community. And honestly, I think that's exactly what these programs should be doing. They're helping people establish roots, helping families build wealth, and helping to create long-term housing stability. One thing I love about all 3 of these programs is that they actually aren't trying to create shortcuts. They're creating opportunities, and they're helping qualified buyers overcome one of the biggest barriers to home ownership, which is coming up with enough money up front to actually buy. But before anyone gets too excited and starts assuming that they qualify for everything like we discussed, we need to talk about one of the biggest pieces that determines eligibility for almost every affordable housing program, which is income limits. And trust me, this is the section where I think most buyers are surprised by. Let's discuss one of the questions I get almost immediately after explaining them is, do I actually qualify for any of these programs? Because almost every affordable housing program has eligibility requirements. And one of the biggest factors is something called median family income, or MFI for short, sometimes referred to as area median income, or AMI. If you ever looked at these programs online, you've probably seen something like 80% AMI, 20% AMI. And honestly, if you're not in real estate or lending, those numbers simply don't mean anything. So let's simplify it. Think of the median family income as a benchmark. Every year, government agencies calculate roughly what middle-income households earn in a particular area. Programs then decide who they want to help. Some programs are designed for households earning under 80% of that number, some allow buyers earning up to 100% of that number, and some go all the way up to 120%. Every single program is different. Another thing people don't realize is that household size matters. A family of 1 has a different income limit than a family of 4. The location of the property matters too. Income limits may vary depending on where you're buying, even down to the specific neighborhood within Portland. Sometimes I'll get a message saying something like, I make $95,000 a year, do I qualify? And the answer on that depends on several different factors. 1, how many people are in your household? 2, where are you buying? 3, what type of finance are you using? And 4, what is the purchase price? And there isn't a universal answer for that. I've had conversations with buyers who immediately told me, I make too much money. And then after we looked at the available programs, we realized that they still qualified for several of them. I've also had buyers who assumed that every affordable housing program was available to them, only to discover that they exceeded certain income limits or had other eligibility issues. That's why I always tell people, please do not guess. Please sit down with professionals who work with these programs every single day. And the nice thing is, you might be pleasantly surprised. Now let's talk about another piece that's just as important as the programs themselves, which is finding the right lender or mortgage broker. This might actually be one of the most important parts of the entire video, because here's something that many buyers don't realize. Not every lender offers every program, and not every mortgage broker participates in the assistance programs. Also, not every loan officer has experience with affordable housing products. Some loan officers close almost exclusively conventional loans, others specialize in FHA or VA, and then there are lenders who spend a tremendous amount of time working specifically with the Portland Housing Center, the Oregon Housing and Community Services programs, flex lending products, community land trusts like Proud Ground, and other local city assistance programs. And those are very different skill sets. Just imagine you're going to a mechanic. One mechanic specializes in European luxury cars, and another specializes in diesel trucks. Both of them are mechanics, but if you own a diesel truck, you're probably going to choose the person who works on diesel trucks every single day. And mortgage lending works exactly the same way. You want someone who understands these programs inside and out, and you want someone who knows which programs can be layered together. You also want someone who understands the timelines, someone who already has relationships with the organizations administering these programs. I've also had buyers come to me after talking with another lender who told them they didn't have any options. And then I connected them with one of my many lending partners who specialize in affordable housing programs. And suddenly the conversations completely changed. That's why I always tell my buyers that choosing the right lender or mortgage broker can be just as important as choosing the right realtor. One final mistake I want to mention before we move on to the conclusion is don't wait to learn about these programs until you've already found a house. I see this happen all the time. Someone falls in love with a property, then they start researching financing, then they discover that they need to complete an education class first, or they need to meet with the Portland Housing Center, or they need to use an approved lender, or they need to submit paperwork weeks earlier, and by then it's often too late. The buyers who have the smoothest experiences often start planning months before they even start touring homes. They understand their finances, they've completed the education requirements, they've spoken with the appropriate organizations, they know their budget, and when the right house comes along, they're ready. That initial preparation can make all the difference in a competitive market. Now that we've covered the program, income limits, and common mistakes, I want to leave you with some final thoughts about who these programs are really designed for, why they're so important to our community, and how I can help buyers navigate all of these different options. So after everything we covered today, you might be wondering, who are these programs actually for? I think that is one of the most important questions in the entire video, because these programs aren't designed for every single buyer. They're designed to help people overcome one of the biggest barriers to home ownership, which is the upfront cash required to purchase a home. Notice how I didn't say monthly payment. Those are two completely different challenges. I've worked with buyers who could comfortably afford a monthly mortgage payment, but struggled to save enough for the down payment and closing costs. Maybe they had student loans, maybe they had children, and maybe they just simply didn't have enough time to accumulate the savings needed to purchase. And those buyers are exactly who many of these programs were created to help. On the other hand, if someone has plenty of cash available, has a large down payment saved, and qualifies comfortably for conventional financing, some of these programs may not provide much benefit at all. The goal isn't to force everyone into an assistance program. The goal is to find the financing strategy that makes the most sense for your situation. Sometimes that means that you just get a traditional conventional loan, sometimes it's FHA, sometimes it's a VA loan, and sometimes it's one of these assistance programs. Sometimes also, remember, you can possibly make this a combination of several different programs working together. There isn't one right answer, there's only the right answer for your financial situation. One thing I always encourage buyers to think about is their long-term goals. Buying a home is only one day. Owning it successfully is everything that comes afterwards. And that's why I never want my buyers to focus on qualifying. I want them to focus on succeeding. Because the last thing I want is for someone to become house poor. I would much rather help someone buy a home that they're comfortable affording rather than stretch every single dollar simply because a lender approved them for more. Home ownership should improve your financial future. It shouldn't become a source of constant financial stress. Another thing I think is important to remember is that these programs can also become stepping stones. Buying your first home doesn't have to mean buying your forever home. In fact, for many homeowners, their first house becomes the foundation for everything that comes afterwards. Maybe you buy through private ground today, and maybe 5 to 7 years from now, you build some equity, you've increased your income, and you're ready to purchase your next home. Maybe you purchased an SDC exemption home that allows you to finally stop renting and begin building wealth. And maybe you use the Welcome Home Beaverton program to help you purchase in a neighborhood that you never thought you could afford in the first place. Every buyer's journey is different. One thing I also want to emphasize is that these programs exist because housing affordability continues to be a challenge throughout Oregon. We've seen our local governments continue investing in affordable housing, we've seen the state continue investing in home ownership initiatives, and we've seen nonprofit organizations like the Portland Housing Center continue to educate buyers and help people navigate programs that they never knew existed. Because while home prices have certainly increased over the last decade, there are still people working every day to create pathways into home ownership. Now, I want to be realistic. Some buyers may not meet the program requirements. Some programs may have waiting lists. Some have temporarily run out of funding. But here's what I don't want. I don't want someone watching this video to automatically assume that they don't qualify without ever having a conversation. I've seen far too many buyers spend years believing that they needed another $50,000 in savings before they could even think about buying a home. Then, after sitting down with the right lender, meeting with the Portland Housing Center, and reviewing the available programs, they realize that they are much closer than they actually thought. That's probably the biggest takeaway that I hope that you get from this entire video. Please don't make assumptions, ask questions, explore your options, and meet with professionals who understand these programs, because you might discover opportunities that you never knew existed. And that's why I make videos like this, because buying a home is complicated enough. My goal is to simplify the process, explain how these programs actually work, and hopefully help more people become confident homeowners. If you're even thinking about buying a home anywhere in the Portland metro area or Southwest Washington, I'd really love to help. I've worked with many buyers using these types of programs, and I also have relationships with lenders and mortgage brokers who specialize in affordable housing products and down payment assistance. We'll sit down, talk about your goals, review your budget, discuss the programs that may fit your situation, and put together a plan that actually makes some sense for you. If you'd like to schedule a consultation, my contact information is below, but you can also call or text me at 971-285-2002 or email me at steven@diverserg.com. Or you can schedule a meeting using the Calendly link in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, I really appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Monday covering Portland real estate, relocating, investing, new construction, and everything you need to know about buying a home in Oregon and Southwest Washington. And finally, I'd love to hear from you directly. Were you surprised that so many down payment assistance programs existed? Or have you already used one of these programs yourself? Please leave a comment below and talk about your experience. I'd love to hear more about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.